My name is Ekaterina Turin. I am an undergraduate student in Dr. Mamarzade's Go Discovery Lab at UCLA. And my kind of role in the lab is really just to be a student, to learn as much as I can about basic science and lab techniques. And over the past 3 years that I've been here during my undergraduate experience, I've really just been learning more and more. And the more that I've learned, Dr. Mamarzade has put me on projects, and I've just been gaining amazing opportunities. In Dr. Mamarzade's lab, we work on studying endometrial and ovarian cancer, and I have worked on various projects, whether it's doing certain experiments, doing data analysis, helping write manuscripts to be published. And really the big goal is being able to discover something that will help make treatments for these diseases better, and that women don't have such a decreased quality of life. I was born in a country called Belarus, and when I was 2 years old, my family immigrated to the United States. I lived in Nebraska. I lived in the Central Valley in California. I'm an offspring of math nerds. My dad has a PhD in math, and my mom has a master's in math, and when I told them I wanted to become a doctor and go into the sciences, they were a little, why? But yeah, they've been supportive. I became a scientist because I've always just loved helping people, and I saw science as a great tool to be able to do that. In middle school, science didn't really click with me. It was my hardest courses. I was really more into English and history. I excelled at that. But it was really when I started thinking, what do I want to do with my life in high school? And I really got back to that central question of how do I help people? And that's why I wanted to become a doctor. And I was like, okay, I have to study science. And as I got more into it and put more work into it, I loved it because it just fascinates me. So some of the main techniques I have learned in the lab since I've joined is really dealing with primary tissue samples that we get from the hospital. And with these tissue samples, I will stain them for particular protein expression so we can see what's being expressed in tumors versus normal tissue. And then I've also been very proficient in using various different types of microscopes. Currently, for a project we are working on, we're trying to identify whether there's some sort of way we can pinpoint which women will respond to progesterone therapy of their endometrial cancers. So what I'm doing right now is I'm taking slides of patients' tumor samples, and I'm using laser capture microdissection, where I use a laser to cut out specific parts of the tumor. I zap it up, and from that I'm going to extract DNA and RNA to hopefully see are there some genetic changes that mark a woman sensitive to progesterone therapy. So lab life, and specifically to me, has been a very great learning environment. I mean, I got into the lab not knowing how to use a pipette or to do anything. So having people there to answer my questions and to really guide me and train me, I think is very important. And now that I wouldn't say advanced necessarily, but I'm pretty proficient in techniques, and now I can help new people in the lab. So it's really a give and take environment. Basic math skills I think are important in just everyday life for people, but if you can add, subtract, you know how to use a calculator, you'll get by in a lab. So working in Dr. Mamarzade's lab, I've had a great opportunity to interact with so many people. If I have a question about something, I can easily talk to people around me or to find someone else on campus that I can collaborate with. So being social and being able to interact with people, I think it's important in the lab environment. The biggest goal for me for research is really being able to translate what you're discovering in the lab to the bedside of patients. So it's not that you're just discovering things and like, oh, that's great, that's fine, but being able to discover these things and get better treatments for patients. I think that's what the most important part is. So my hope is that when I become a doctor 10 years down the line, I will be able to prescribe treatments that we have discovered in this lab, and that my patients will have a great quality of life.
Wow.